edition of the University Research Training organized by the consortium of the Central Office of Research, the Postgraduate College, and the Postgraduate Students Association of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. And it's been an exciting series so far, and today is another day that is poised to be great and equally exciting. I'd like to start by welcoming the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research, Innovation and Development, Professor Akoni Akinyemi, to welcome us to this meeting, and then I'll invite him to welcome us to this meeting, and then before we invite our professor, the speaker for today, who is in the person of Professor Mary Rubio, who will be taking us through the sessions today. Professor, over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dimiji. Thanks for all you do. The university is grateful. For you putting this on this platform from January. Thanks so much. Again, let me welcome us to today's workshop. Let me sincerely appreciate those who have been part of this from the beginning of this year till now. Every Friday, we have always met on this platform. And so let me sincerely appreciate us for sustaining the momentum on this. So again, it's a special Friday. We started this last week looking into using mixed methods in our research, and we listened to a recorded version of the lecture. But today we are privileged to have the lecturer. The lecturer is here with us, live and direct, in person of Professor Oluwafunke Mary Obiyan. She's a professor of demography and social statistics, and she's been exposed to many training across the world in using mixed method analysis. As we had last week, she has over a decade of experience using a mixed method approach to research. So it's my singular honor, therefore, to open the platform as we listen to Professor Mary Obiyan. As I used to say, please, particularly for those early career people who are here, no knowledge is wasted. Please grab your pen and your jotter and make sure at least you have your usual 2 cubes of sugar for your coffee this morning. So on that note, I want to open the floor and invite Professor Mary Obiyan to please lead us in this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Prof. Obiyan, can you use the raise hand icon? I think she was trying to sign in earlier, but something happened. Okay. Please give us a moment to sort out. She's having a minor technical itch, but she would be able to start shortly. But while we are trying to solve this, I would want to just identify some of our professors who have been here to mention. We have the Director, University Research Office, Professor Babajide Odu, also here. We will be hearing from him after the presentation this morning. And then we also have Professor Adesomi Akinsulore here also. And want to just welcome all of you and appreciate you. We can see some names that we are used to. I want to thank you all for joining. Please permit us to quickly solve the technical itch within the next 30 seconds.
Sorry, Dimeji. I think I saw Professor Onyeka Additional, former executive director of the Central Office of Research. I think it's online. Prof, please. Yes, I think I saw him. Prof,
Yes,
you
sir.
want to make a quick
Prof, sir.
remark, sir? Yes, thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You can unmute now, sir. Professor Additional, sir. All right. I think Professor Additional may not. Oh, okay. Now I can see Professor Opinion. Can the host please make research methods lab? Yes, a co-host so that you can start. All right. Thank you. We'll hear from Professor Additional and all of our other professors immediately after this session. Prof. Man, would you like me to share the screen from here, or do you want
Yes,
to share
please.
it from your end? Okay, all
No,
right.
please
Thank
go
you.
ahead. Thank you.
All right, right away. Thank you. So just before Prof starts, Professor Additional sent a message. He said he had some challenges with his audio, but he's wishing all of us a beautiful and rewarding morning. So, Prof. Obioma, we are ready for you. Earlier when the internet was fluctuating, Professor Akone Akinyemi introduced you, and we are all ready for you this morning. Our cups of
Thank
coffee
you.
are beside us. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, my VC. Good morning, all my organs, my professors and colleagues. My apologies, I had internet glitch. I had to really scrambling, and to get the best network. So just let's dive in. This morning, my name is Mary Obion. Thanks, Prof, for introducing me earlier. This morning, we'll be talking about Miss Methods Research Designing, which already was introduced to us last week. I think that was an audio presentation. Today is a brief hour, but I'll try and see how we can walk through. It's not like a practical session, but I'll try to see how we can make it very interesting. Thank you once again. Next slide, please. Thank you. So what I have is just to briefly introduce us again, even though I know we went through last week, but before I jump in, I want us to just have brief background of what is Miss Methods Research and what types exist. So let's start with a quick foundation. Miss Methods research simply means combining the statistical power of quantitative research, with the contextual depth of qualitative research, so we can understand complex issues more fully than either approach could do alone. At times, standing alone might not really work, depending on what your research is about. And there are three main designs you will encounter. Of course, there are not many imagined designs, but three main underlying designs that you're going to encounter. That is the convergent or triangulation design, which collects both data at the same time and matches them for comparison. Then we have the explanatory sequential design, in which case the quantitative, hello, are you raising hand to me?
No, we
Dimeji, I'm
can
seeing.
see. Go ahead, man.
Okay, thank you. Then we have the explanatory sequential design, which start with quantitative data and then follows up with qualitative data to explore a phenomenon. And then you just flip, and then we have the quantitative data starting first, that is exploratory. We have the quali first, and then we have the quantitative. Just keep these three in mind, because as we proceed, we're going to identify which one our case study uses. Next slide, please. Thank you. The next slide talks about why use mixed methods and who should use it. So when should you actually reach for mixed methods? Here I propose 4 situations when your research question is too complex for a single method to answer. Well, neither qualitative only nor quantitative only can do it. When you need to cross-validate findings across multiple sources, multiple data sources. Third, when you need to corroborate findings or reconcile contradictions in your data. And again, let's talk about who should use it. Of course, it's for researchers who are genuinely open to integrating both paradigms, and for interdisciplinary teams with diverse methodological skills. And also, we have social health researchers. It's no longer the social sciences thing. Public health, even in engineering, pharmacy, public policy, business, depending again on what your project is all about. Everyone can use it. You just need to be sure that you have the experts on board. Next slide, please. Thank you. Here I have challenges, and what to keep in mind. So mixed methods, it's not without its challenges. And I think it's important that when you are using it, you have to keep your eyes wide open. And of course, it's very good. It provides rich data. However, it's resource and labor intensive. Because it demands skills, both skills in both paradigms. You want an expert in quality, you want an expert in quantity. One must not overshadow the other, and that takes some expertise. Again, data integration is another challenge. Since we have quantity data, which is numbers, we have quality data, which is words, how do you balance the two? But you know what? Things are getting easier every day. You don't need ChatGPT to do that for you. We have apps that were built specifically for this purpose. For example, Masquerade. Masquerade helps us to integrate both data set very good, very well. You may also get conflicting results between the two data strands. So what do you do? How do you address this? How do you navigate this issue? Is that you set predefined rules in advance for how you're going to interpret the divergent findings. And finally, whatever spans the two data types, you also need to ensure confidentiality, and again, consent process needs to fit both. Next slide, please. Thank you. Just a minute. Sorry. Okay, thank you. So now let's apply this to a what? To a real published study. So this study, it's what I did with my colleagues. It was published in BMC Health Service Research 2023, Obinyon and et al. I think I provided the link there so if you want to look it up. Just to Obinyon Street Kits, you're going to see the paper pop up. So for this work, it was conducted in 2023. Is a concurrent mixed method survey. What were we looking at? We're looking at unwanted pregnancy and induced abortion among sexually active, straight-involved female adolescents aged 10 to 19 in Lagos and Osogbo, Southwest Nigeria. Next slide, please. Thank you. So here, I want to present the study objectives so that it will guide us as we progress. The study had 3 defined clear objectives. First, to determine the correlates of unwanted pregnancy among sexually active female street-involved adolescents in these 2 cities, Osogbo and Lagos State. Second, to determine the correlates of induced abortion. Now, among those who were pregnant, how many of them, had induced abortion? And among those who had a history of pregnancy, that's for the induced abortion, the second objective. And third, this is the qualitative piece, to explore these adolescents' own perspectives and lived experiences of pregnancy and induced abortion. So we understand the why behind the numbers. That's it. So quantity tells us the numbers, what is going on. We identify patterns, the trends, how many, the proportion, what is going on, and why. The quality tells us the why do we have these numbers? Why do we have this trend? what is going on for the participants in their own words. Why are they doing what they are doing? Right? So that is the third component of the study. Next slide, please. Thank you. Research design. I think I talked about this, but I'll just quickly go through it. Why mixed method? This study used a convergent concurrent mixed method designs, which means that the quantity and the quality were collected at the same time from the same population and matched later. And you may be wondering, why didn't we collect quantity first and quality? Or why didn't we do quality first and quantity? Remember, our research design determines our project, our study determines the design we are choosing. We are dealing with a unique population, so fluid. They can be here today, next tomorrow. Tomorrow you see them here today, tomorrow they're elsewhere. So that the opportunity we have to bring them together. We just collected the data sets. Then we matched it later for the point of interpretation. I want you to hold on to 3 guiding questions as we go through the findings. What is happening and how much, right? So how much what is happening is answered by the quantitative strand. So the survey of 4 to 4 adolescents using chi-square and binomial regression. And so why does it happen? And what does it mean to those living it? That is what the qualitative strand is what is providing answer to. And then this was conducted. The analysis was done through inductive and then deductive thematic analysis. I won't be able to go through all this now. But please feel free to reach out. We do free, just like what we're having this morning. There are times that we also organize free training sessions for those that want to build their skills in quality only, or those that want to build their skills in quantity only. So we have limited time. I'll be able to go through what do you mean by deductive thematic analysis, what do you mean by deductive thematic analysis. Just flow now. But if you want to know more, those are the keywords. You can look it up. Thank you. And next slide. Let's go to the next slide. Thank you. So this talks about who, where, and over what period. So I want us to ground this in specifics. So our study population answers the who. They are female street involved adolescents aged 10 to 19. So for mixed methods, you need to know, like I said, why mixed methods. That needs to be clear. I've seen recently, I think about 2 months ago, I got a call. Hi, Dr. Obiyan. I was referred to you by a colleague at another university in the northern part of Nigeria. I want to do so. My first question is, okay, can you please send me your protocol? Just 3-page proposal. Okay, I'll send it. And then it came, I think like 2 days after. So in fact, by the time I got to read through the objectives, I just shut at the person. Can we have a quick call in the next 2 hours? My question, please tell me why mixed methods? Because what you have can be quantity. You don't need to explore. It's very simple. It's a simple thing. You don't need the numbers are sufficient to answer your research question. Get the data, do the analysis, ensure that all the dots, all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, ensuring that quality data is collected, and then publish, right? And if it's whatever you want to do, proceed. You don't need to do quality. It took me time to let her understand you don't need to do quality. So it's really critical you understand. You have to write it out. Why mixed methods? And so once you are sure, okay, mixed method is it. Okay, let's do it. Then who are my study population? Because mixed methods, the quality part, it's just interview, but it's actually much more demanding than the numbers. A typical example was, I think 3 days ago, we were on the field. In my department, demography, we do annual DSS 306, where we give our students on field practical experience of what research is about. And so we are designed focus group discussion or IDI, depending on who we see, and we have the guide for that. But when we got to the field, And the context talking now of where we got them, how we got them. We have to go back and say, you know what, guys, let's do IDI. We can't do FGD. You see, so who your study participants is, who you are dealing with, also determines to a large extent how you proceed, right, with your choice of design. So the study population for this study that we are using today, female street evolved adolescents, age 10 to 19. So we group them into two, stratify them into two, the younger adolescents and older adolescents. Older 15 to 19, younger 10 to 14, 5 years gap. And then we have 33, we have 44 of them for the quantity and 33 for the qualitative strand. For these people, we have 29 focus group participants and 4 in-depth interview participants. You see, so we had 3 groups for FGD and 4 for IDI. IDI is a one-on-one interview. Focus group is to put them together. And you put people together, those that are of the same classification. What do I mean? Let's say you are talking of women reproductive ages. It will not be fair, or it will not be too, you're not sure what to get when you have a newbie, like a newly married, still pregnant with a woman talking of other contraceptives used, for example, uptake of other family planning methods with someone that already had four kids, right? So you may not get the same. It's most likely the newbie just quiet all through. So when you have focus group discussion, because they're all women, or they're all eligible, or they're all included, my son does not, you have to put them all together. Most time we stratify by age, we stratify by gender, and also different social strata. And then we have 4 IDI participants for this study. Where the study area covered 2 urban cities in southwest Nigeria, your location needs to be clearly mapped out. Lagos specifically, where in Lagos is broad, Bariga and Aja, we are looking for where we have high number of streets involved adolescents, right? And Oshogbo in Osun State. And where in Oshogbo is also a very big city. We went to Okebale and Olaya, Sabo, right? So that is the where, that answers the where. And over what period? From January to February 2019, right? 2 months. Remember, I said both data sets were collected at the same time. Next slide, please. Let's go to the next slide. Thank you. I need to have a separate slide for this. For some people, when we have quality, when we are doing quality work, we tend to think it's just talking, it's just interviewing people. It doesn't really need ethical approval. I'm here to let you know that even if you are doing qualitative only work, we have studies that are designed that they don't need the numbers. I earlier talked about explanatory sequential design, where you first collect the quantity and quality. We have exploratory, where we first do the quality and quantity. So in case you found, you've identified, right? You went to the field, you started with exploratory, you collected you did your FGD IDI, and it was clear you don't need the word, you don't need the numbers, and that's it. Even if it's qualitative only, you need to get ethical approval, right? So ethics matters just as much as in MIS methods as in any other design. In fact, now, because you're managing 2 data types at once, you need to get ethical approval. You are talking anything that's human participants, you need to have ethical approval. It's now more so when you have vulnerable population. What do I mean by vulnerable population? The hearing refers to pregnant women, children, migrant population, stigmatized population, for example, those living with HIV/AIDS, and other groups like that. We have many population groups that are, they are stigmatized, vulnerable in their own way. So, and this group, they are vulnerable population, street kids, So we got ethical approval. In fact, for this, we got 3 approvals. We first secured institution ethics approval from IPH in OAU. Then we got the state level approval from Osun State Research Ethics. And then we got also from Lagos State Ministry of Health. So for this study, so mixed methods, but we got 3 different approvals before we could do it, before we could proceed. All participants gave informed written consent, and parental consent was waived for those under 18. And this is in line with national guidelines. At times when you're dealing with minor, it's allowed to waive parental consent when you are dealing with, especially a population street involved. Many of them, larger percentage of them, were not living with parents. They're on their own, right? Some don't even know where the parents are, because one said, I've not seen my parents in almost over 8 years or so. And again, the study is non-invasive anyway, so it was sweet. But remember, we got this approved before we could proceed. The key points I want to take away is that ethical consent has to apply equally to both strands. The survey questionnaire, your tool, and your FG and IDEA guide both needs to go through what? Through the same ethics process. Next slide, please. So what do we look for in a mixed method study? Now, I want to give you a practical checklist here. So the kind of thing I want to do in yourself when you read any mixed methods paper or design your own. Actually, I remember my mentor once told me that the best way, the fastest way to learn and to be outstanding and be exceptional is read other people's work. So I remember there was a time we challenged ourselves. My mentor is a woman of, so she said, Mary, let's read 100 papers for the next 100 days. It does not matter the number of pages. Even if it's 25, if it's 50, we'll read it. Guys, please don't ask me what happened. I could not keep up. I tried, but I could not keep up. But she finished. Then I went back again. I continued. I fell out. I went back again. So when you want to build your skill in anything, your literature review, please start with a paper that is mixed methods, right? And there is nothing you want to do now that you don't have something on it. Mixed methods, quality only, quantity only, you have something on it, published in reputable outlets. So that's where you start. Is there a stated rationale for combining methods? Yes. Remember that I mentioned that it was concurrent collection, which was chosen to provide what comprehensive and richer information. So were both quality and quantitative actually collected? Yes. You see, I was talking about checklist, things that you need to. As a matter of fact, if you want to get the checklist, just so this is a short course that I do. You can go to, let's say, BMC. You can Google it, BMC, Google checklist for mixed methods. But if it's not coming out, you can go to BMC like you want to submit, a paper, an article, mixed methods. Once it's mixed methods, they will give you, they have authors a checklist, what you must submit, what you must complete before they can accept your paper for review or publication, and then further publication. So you see, it's like 17. Was this collected? Was this collected? This must be there. This must be there. So that is the best. So that when you are designing your guide, when you are designing your study, you are sure that all those things are what are already included. And if not, if you want to publish, you may experience some hiccups, you may experience some issues because you don't fly. And many of them have this standard checklist now that you need to check. Everything needs to be in. Everything will be checked before they can accept your paper for review. So that is the shortcuts I want to provide. I hope you find that useful. So for this study, for our practical session, giving practical checklist, I talked about what was the stated rationale for combining methods? Is that provided in the work? Yes. What design did we use? Yes, provided. Did we collect both data set? Yes. provided the numbers? Yes. 424 survey respondents, 33 quality participants. Were the timing specified to justify, the concurrent design? Yes, it was justified, right? Then is there a clear point of integration? Yes. At the discussion level, right? So when you have mixed methods, you first present, I'll get there now in the next slide. You first present the quantity, the quality, the key findings for quality, in the methods, you put them together. Then when you're presenting the findings, you have the quantity part, you talk about the numbers, what it means, little explanation, your tables, and the thing like that. Then you go to the quality, how you analyzed, and some things, your themes, what you found. You also provide excerpts and things like that. And then the discussion, there are times that some people actually go and said integration, and then they weave the two together to explain their points. And also at the point of discussion, that is where most of us do it. The point of discussion, you then do what? You integrate both very well. So when you want to read any mixed methods paper or article study, please just run through the checklist so that you are sure that indeed it is giving you the information that you need. Let's go to the next slide. That talks about the quantitative finding. Thank you. So let's look at what the numbers actually showed. Of the sample, 63.7% were sexually active. Among the 63.7%, 23.7% had the history of pregnancy. If I can quickly take you back to the objectives, the first one was what? Was correlate of pregnancy, unwanted pregnancy. Second objective was correlate to what? Of induced abortion. So if you see my findings, I mentioned that 23.7% had a history of pregnancy. Check. 59.4% induced abortion. Check. You see, remember that the third objective is the quality strand, so we are going to get to that also. Worryingly, which are about 83% used no modern contraceptive at the last sexual encounter. Two findings stood out statistically. School attendance lowered the odds of pregnancy at an adjusted odds ratio of 0.42. And being age 15 to 19 compared to 10 to 14 lowered the odds of induced abortion. Also at an adjusted odds ratio of 0.13. So I want you to hold on to these two numbers because we are going to bring the qualitative data in to do what? To explain them. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this slide is now presenting the findings of the qualitative. Please, if I'm speaking so fast, please let me know. Because I want to be sure that I covered all the slides. It's not a lot anymore, but to speak through it very well. And I have just an hour to do so. I think we have less than 30 minutes now, and we'll still need to give room for questions. So practically like 20 minutes more for my presentation. So for the qualitative, I have 6 themes here. 6 themes emerged from the transcript. History of unwanted pregnancy, which participants described as common and normalized within their community. History of induced abortion, also acknowledged by participants. Remember that my quantity provided what? The percentages. Okay. Just trying to explain this so that you understand the mixed methods part now. We said 23% had history of pregnancy. Among this group, 59, that is more than half, had induced abortion. The quality also said yes. Induced pregnancy is common and normalized. And also induced abortion acknowledged that means that yes, we also are aware it does what? It does happen. Reasons for induced abortion. Now, remember, the quality does what? The why. Why do we have these numbers? Why induced abortion? If you're pregnant, you could actually just have the baby. So why induced abortion? Quality strands helps us to know the why, the pattern, the why, the numbers. All right. So reasons for induced abortion, including being pregnant itself, unwanted pregnancy itself, is what is a reason. Not sure who the father is, that of paternity is another reason. Partner rejection is another reason. And poor financial status is another reason. Now, decision making, which was driven heavily by relationship network, partners, friends, and family, place and methods, right? Talking of the systems here, the findings of the qualitative, place and methods of induced abortion, range from private hospitals and chemists to traditional herbal practitioners, including some of them describing high-risk methods. And finally, motivations for patronizing unsafe sources. Of course, cost is illegal in Nigeria, the stigma, fear of recognition, and lack of privacy. So if you look at the qualitative strands, the qualitative data strand, it did not just tell us the why, it broke down the why into perspectives. So that's the essence of having mixed methods. The essence of you having both together is you want to understand a phenomenon. You want to have a comprehensive information. You want to understand everything that needs to know. Of course, we can't exhaust knowledge, right? It's forever. You keep knowing. The more you dig, the more you know. However, to an extent, I want to understand why are we having low uptake of complete vaccination, complete immunization, or low percentage of complete immunization among children 0 to 1 month now. I think 23 months, 0 to 23 months. They were having the BCG 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th, 5th, 6th dose that are very compulsory, also very important. They're not taking it. Why? So Quali will tell you the why and tell you the reasons, what are the underlying factors, the information supporting each of the whys. So that when you are designing the policy, when you are designing your intervention, for some intervention studies, now we first go to the field to understand this has been happening, or we brought this intervention to this community, but people are not using it. In this community, we noticed high rate of teenage pregnancy. And then we brought a community center into that place. And we are still not seeing them coming. Rather, we are seeing adults, older women, 40 coming. We actually came here because of the younger girls to come. So why are they not coming? So if you want to do intervention, you go back and do interview. You already have the numbers. So you see, you already have the numbers through the records. At this point, you now want to know why the low uptake. What can we do to improve the uptake? So Quali will not just tell you the why, it will give you more information on the challenge, what is going on, how you can address, how you can navigate or design intervention to overcome that challenge. If you see the systems that are presented to you, they gave the reason for induced abortion. Where are they going? So if you want to design an intervention to limit induced abortion among this group, right, among this population group, you're not going to tell them, don't go to the traditional practitioners, don't go to private hospitals. I want you to go to general hospitals. But now, if you wanted to go to general hospitals, what are the systems in place to support access? Right. So now when you're supporting access, then you talk of cost. You talk of stigma. How do you address that? How do you address fear of recognition? How do you address lack of privacy? So that is why Quali is very, very powerful. I'm sold out. I don't know why. I'm sold out for Quali. I miss my thoughts. So you see why this is very important. So I just tried to explain to us now the Quali. It's just a minute. Okay, then next slide, please. Thank you. So slide A, having explained, the Quali part, the Quali findings, And I want to, bring the two strands together. Remember the essence of mixed methods, right? So of the objective, which objective do I want to explain here? Objective 2, correlates of induced abortion. So let's bring the two strands together for objective 2. Quantitatively, we saw that older adolescents 15 to 19 had significantly lower odds of inducing abortion than younger adolescents, with an adjusted odds ratio of 0.13. Now, see how qualitative data now does its job. This is where it does its job. Participants told us that younger adolescents have less autonomy and are often pressured into abortion by their social networks. There is a quote here that says, "It is their boyfriends that often tell them to abort it." That was said by 12-year-old FGD participants. Again, the quantity also tells us also to support that, on education, participants also suggested that awareness reduces both unintended pregnancy and abortion. We also have an excerpt that supported that. None of these very young children here abort here. Because if they know about it, unwanted pregnancy won't be that common in this environment. Who said that? A 19-year-old participant. You see, so the quantity said older adolescents had significantly lower odds. Why? Because they have what? Higher autonomy. They are lesser pressured compared to those that are 10 to 14. Again, there is the likelihood that they will have access to more information. Because at that age, they're most likely moving with younger adults of those that are above 20 and above, compared to those that are also 10 to 14, 10, 11, 12, that are still, in their parents' house. Tricky, but, even at that, they are still under the supervision of someone. And some of them are already living in with a partner. So you can see how we brought the two together. We've used now the quality to explain the numbers. Let's go to the next slide, please. I'll some few minutes and then we can have questions. Thank you. What the two strands tell us together? So let's synthesize this. Quantitatively, school attendance protected against pregnancy. Older age protected against abortion. But you see, these numbers alone will not tell us what is associated with risk. Sorry, these numbers will only tell us what is associated with the risk and not the why. So qualitatively, participants described abortion decisions as driven less by personal choice than by financial dependency and relationship power. Right? Partners' lack of job and economic opportunities to support raising the baby is often decides the outcome. And it's frequently the boyfriend. It necessarily does not have to be the adolescent herself who makes the call. So when we put this together, a single narrative emerges: autonomy. Autonomy built either through school, age, and financial independence. You see, that is what these two are telling us. It is the thread connecting both objectives. The quantitative tells us who is most at risk, 10 to 14. The qualitative tells us why they are the group most at risk, lack of autonomy, that leaves the decision in someone else's hands. You see, so what we've done is we have the numbers, now we have the why. That's the essence of mixed methods. And that's why we said it is labor intensive, it is resources intensive, talking of finance, because you need an expert to do well in putting the two together. What I'm explaining is like a walk in the park. We've had situations that Dimeji and other researchers on the call will know. There are situations that you have to go back and and see, you sit down. In fact, you have notes typed out because you are now at the real point. You are now at the point of cracking the bones. That is data integration, synthesizing the two strands. That is where the work is, and that's why you need experts. And compared to just printing out questionnaire or downloading your Kobo tool and then your REDCap, having your REDCap, and that helps you to just collect the data. You can just go through it, download it. In fact, It can even give you basic frequency, but that's not going to be quality. The quality, you first collect, interview, record that, you transcribe word for word. Then you validate the transcription, which people that work with me know. When we collect the data you've transcribed, we have another person that's on standby that now listen to the audio, check what you've transcribed, and many times fill in the gaps. We've seen cases where a whole 2 minutes are skipped. We've seen cases where some contexts were misinterpreted, especially for Yoruba, that would have ADA, Ada, so many Ada, many things, right? A word meaning many things. So we have that. Then when you do that validation, you now translate to English, right? Because that is that is where the app we have, the NVivo ATACI is English. We've not had them design it in Yoruba. Then we now import that into the software to now do the analysis to help you identify some things. That is a lot. This thing I'm talking of is not 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks work. It is a lot. And there are even situations that you have large data sets. You can have 2,000, 5,000 survey respondents, questionnaires filled. The analysis can be ready in a week, 1 week. And you have 5 focus group discussion, just 5 or 40 people, 888. And 2-3 weeks, you are still sweating, trying to understand, okay, what is this one saying? What did this one mean? Okay, now one line of response of a sentence can give you 3 responses, valid responses to, can give you valid responses to 4 questions. And then you are now the same, you highlight it for this question, the same sentence, you highlight it for this question, the same. And by the time you're integrating, you must not miss it. So it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful work, and I'm happy that we are able to go through this. Remember, it is very important for you to do what? To tell the story with the 2 data strands. Don't now get overwhelmed that you want to have your numbers, the quantity. You now struggle to just go and look for something to just, a statement to just support the numbers. No, you have to pay detailed attention. You have to give the same energy to the quality. In fact, higher energy to the quality part, because I tell you, the quality will most likely give you more data and something richer that you can work with. Especially when you're talking of a baseline study or even intervention, the quality does beautiful work. So let's go to the next slide. I think that's our conclusion, and then we can have questions. I want us to have 10 minutes for questions. Thank you. So conclusion, let me leave you with this. Mixed methods done well does not just add 2 data sets side by side. It lets one explain what the other can only describe. Again, I've mentioned that number tells us what is happening, tell us the trend. This is the proportion, and this is the group most affected. And the voices tell us the why. Why this group is the most affected. Why the numbers. Why? That is the standard. And I want you to hold your own research to this standard. That anytime you are designing mixed methods, please note that your why should be explained, right? If you really want to do the mixed methods, you need to design the why being answered, right? And also the what. The why, explaining the what, having paying attention to that, your ethics, everything, having it well checked. At any point in time, if you need support also, I think CORA does a good job. And for those that just want to, maybe you want a research, you want a project, and you need help, you design your tool, or you need help to design, so please reach out to COR. And we have record of experts that could support with any of the strand. So I'm going to leave with this last. When you're designing your own study, ask yourself at an early stage, what will my quantitative data tell me? What will my qualitative data tell me? And where exactly will the 2 meet? Thank you. Thank you for having me on this call this morning. Mr. Dimeji, over to you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ma. This is quite practical and very, very easy to follow. We want to thank you for this excellent presentation. I think it's time to ask questions. If you have a question, if you have some clarifications that you would like if there are clarifications that you want from my professor for today, please use the raise hand icon so that we can identify and invite you. But while we wait for the questions, I would like to invite Professor Babajide Odu, the Director, University Research Office, for his remark and his reaction to this session. Professor.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Mary Obinyo, for this presentation.
Thank you, sir.
You've told us how to, merge our qualitative and then quantitative data to make sense of whatever thing we are doing. I mean, this is a very, very instructive and very explanatory. Thank you so much. I believe that maybe later we will ask you to come and then do more exploratory work with what you have presented. So
anytime, sir.
I can see that it's been with the S science. You have been working with the S science people, and then if you can work with other areas, maybe you come to agriculture and then or to social science aspect of agriculture, and then be able to work with our extension people, our agricultural economists, researchers to make use of this mixed model efforts, in explaining certain things that have defied explanation all this while. So this is very good. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I don't know if Professor Adeshina is able to unmute now. Then, please, if you have questions, you can also put it. Oh, okay, it's no longer on the call. Let me check the chat. If there are questions, I think most of the questions revolves around getting the slides, but I'm happy to inform all of us that this is also being streamed live on YouTube, and we have some participants, lots of participants actually, who joined this session also on YouTube. All right, let me invite Bill M. Kwaesin for your question. Please keep it brief and straight to the question. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you to the Prof. So when I saw your presentation with the quantitative, you have a number of 4, 24. Then with the quant, you have 29 and 4. So with the quant and the quad, the number have to be exactly the same, or you have to be your own selection. Thank you.
I didn't get that. Sorry. I'm experiencing
Okay,
internet glitches, so it was cutting and out.
I said with the quantitative, you have a number of participants and interviewee. You have 400 plus. Then for the quant, you have 29 for the focus group discussion and the RDI, you have 4. So the number is not equal. So I just want to understand that really. If you are conducting study, yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
I think that is the only one for now. So I think it's about the sample size, how you decide your sample size. Yes. All right. Man.
Yeah. Thank you. So I'm going to say that that's a very good question. So why quantitative needs a large sample size there? Say quantitative research aims for statistical power and generalizability. I want you to know that. And so to detect real associations like the adjusted odds ratio, for the school attendant, we got 0.42, and also for you, I think 0.13. You need enough respondents so that your regression model, right, can produce stable, meaningful estimates. And also with stable TIs, that is talking of your confidence intervals. And so a small sample size would diminish this. It will give unstable odds ratio with huge uninformative confidence intervals. You saw this already. Okay, I would like you to open to please read the work. Obion, just type OBIYN Obion et al. 2023 or Obion Street Kits. You'll see this particular work. And for those on the slides, maybe before we finish, Mr. Dimeji, you can go back to the title so that people can the title page of the work so that people can see that, read more. If you see the table, you understand why, and CIs are quite wide, the issues that they could give us. Now, why do we have small sample size for qualitative work? Qualitative research is not interested in how many, it's the depth, right? It's not in how wide, how many. We want to 5,000 people. You can't manage it. We are interested in the depth. Quality aims for the depth of the work. So the goal is not to generalize a number across the population. It is to reach a thematic saturation. So it is to help you generate information to the point you feel, I don't think any other interview will give us something new, then we'll stop. Like that's a different thing. Like I said, we have a lot to unpack in this 1 hour. So we're just going to list some things. How do you get to the point of saturation? How do you know when to stop? How do you decide 4 IDIs, just like the question you asked? How do you decide 3 FGDs? Right. The number 33 I gave for FGD is the total number of participants, but it's 3 FGD. We have, I think for this we have 10, I think we have 10, 11, that's we put them together, 3 or 4. But total number. With 3 FGDs and 4 IDIs, the researchers, right, us, we were listening for recurring patterns, of meaning, reasons for abortion, reasons for unintended pregnancy, what is going on, the decision-making dynamics, right? We are not counting the frequency. We are not counting 54% of this said this. No, you can't say 54% of these of the population experienced this. No, we're not interested in the frequency. We're not interested in the numbers. We want to know the why.
Sorry.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Just about 1 minute left, ma'am, so that we
Okay,
can
yeah. Thank you. So the core principle to remember here is that quantitative sample size is driven by statistical power, and qualitative sample size is driven by saturation. So they are answering different questions. One is depth, and one is what? How much, how strong versus why, and the how. I hope that explains. That is helpful. That provides answer to your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you. You said earlier that this is a short time. We know it is a short time, but we try to do great things in short period. And thank you very much. This has been excellent, excellent. But then it's not in my place to say this. I want to invite Professor Akoni Akinyemi, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research, Innovation and Development, for his reaction and then for the closing. We are almost on top of the hour. Professor.
Thank you, Mr. Dimeji.
Thank you, Dimeji. Thank you, Professor Olufunke Mary Obiyan. Thank you, Aline, for handling these 2 lectures last week and this week. Thank you so much. As usual, I always want to say my own 2 cubes of sugar is that it's good to have the values through the quantitative, but it's also good for you to be able to present the depth. Because when you have the value with the depth, as our speaker spoke today, he said then he presents exactly what you are trying to say, so that you don't just continue to work with values, you also have a depth that explain what those values are. So we must sincerely thank you. Thank you for taking us through this, and not just about theoretical presentation, also using what you'll be able to do, as a very good example. So as usual, particularly for some of us who are early career stuff, we want to also invite you, you can continue to have conversation with her. Our office is in the Department of Demography and Social Statistics. You can continue with this conversation. To make impactful research, value alone will not help you. Depth alone will not help you. So we need to be able to marry both the values and the depth as she has presented today. I saw a lot of my teachers, those who taught me the TASH method here. I saw, sorry, I don't know how to call him professor. I just call him Boda Sholasha. Professor Sholasha is here. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. So please, if you will permit me, Professor Odu, I can say a lot of our professors who are here, but please permit me to allow my guy at the top, Professor Sholasha, to have just 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. That was a wonderful presentation. Well, my thoughts actually, from the word qualitative, we can think of quality. So that, like the DVC said, when you match value with depth, then we're bringing out some, qualitative ideas for policymakers. Be that as it may be, I am still thirsty of the university having a statistical lab. I know that the Department of Demography has been working along that line, so that by the time we have people from Statistics Department, Maths Department, Demography and Social Statistics Department, and the Department of Computer Science come together to assist one way or the other, as is done in some other universities abroad. It will also help in development of all of this. And I also think that the university can also, I feel very strongly that some of our colleagues are underutilized one way or the other. For example, the Carter Fellows, I still have that strong feeling that they are underutilized in the university. So this is a wonderful program, and I believe that especially young researchers, upcoming scholars will make the best of this. I must confess that in our own time, we really don't have this kind of exposition. But for me, it's like a refresher course. Thank you, Professor Obion. Thank you for making us proud. Thank you, sir. Up and over.
Thank you, sir. I thought you brought your marking scheme to Marcus. Thank you for not marking. Okay, Professor Odu, please, you may want to close. Thank you so much.
Professor Odu, sir, want to help us close today? Okay, all right. I think he may be.
Professor Luanti is around. Professor Luanti, please go ahead, please.
What I do, okay. Thank you. Good morning, sir. And good morning to my dear sister and friend. It's been ages. I don't know that you are still in this country. Incidentally, I saw my daughter yesterday. What a wonderful presentation. It's been, an interesting conversation, putting meaning behind the data, as it were, bringing the meat of the valley. What is this telling us? Getting quantitative results is one thing. What is the story behind the data? And I think we've gotten the gist of that very well. An excellent presentation. Thank you very much, SARS, for allowing this contribution. And I wish us a very pleasant day. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir, and thank you very much, everyone. We hope to see you again next week at the same time using the same link on another exciting topic. Thank you and have a great Friday. Bye-bye, everyone.